to Mission Unstoppable. As you can see, I have a wonderful guest with me today. Her name is Pamela Nye. And does she ever have one hell of a pedigree in nursing, including being named Nurse of the Year in 2004 at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. Today, she is the CEO and owner of Neuroscience Nursing. She's a founder and CEO and executive director of Operation Scrubs, Inc., a 501c3 nonprofit organization. She's also an associate professor at UCLA School of Nursing. She has dedicated a good part of her life to teaching and elevating the knowledge of nurses in the area of brain disorders and diseases and injury, and she provides hospital leadership and consultation and guidance. She's also considered to be an expert in her field of nursing and often acts as a legal consultant for attorneys, hospitals, and routinely volunteers in her community. An angel, right? Yeah. So her nonprofit Operation Scrubs provides innovative, tuition-free, continuing nurse education webcasts, advanced nursing education scholarships for working nurses, floor nurses, and positive nurse imagery advocacy. And how does she do that? By donating 100% of all the audited net revenue for tuition-free nursing education and scholarships from her own symposiums, seminars, public speaking, and publication efforts. Wow. So, is it any wonder at all that this powerhouse behind the Thank a Nurse Challenge campaign that is going to be running during National Nurse Week from May 6th through May 12th, Pamela has initiated the Thank a Nurse Challenge, where she is seeking 1 billion people to sign on to their virtual billboard and leave a message of thanks for the 27 million nurses worldwide. And you can go and check that out at www.thankanurseteamchallenge.org. Now, welcome, Pamela. Wow, what a feat. How exciting is that? I'm so excited for you.
Well, hearing you say it, because I live it every day, I don't really think about it.
Yeah.
And then hearing somebody say, this is what she does, this is what she does, it's like, I did all that.
I know. Isn't it amazing? What a lifetime of amazing. Wow.
It really
incredible.
is.
You are so selfless. There's not that many, I'm not going to say there's not that many, but there's few and far between the people who are selfless in this world. I can tell you that. And, my job is to go out and find those people. So it's exciting. I do meet a lot of them. But, you are rather extraordinary.
Well, thank you so much. I think it began when I sort of had person-to-person contact with a nurse for the first time. Most people really don't think about nurses until you need one.
Right. Right.
And then it's all of a sudden, oh my gosh. I was working as a receptionist when I first met my first nurse, up close and personal. Sure, I'd been to the doctor's office, I'd been to the pediatrician's office and all that.
Yeah.
But I was actually distributing, back in the day, we used to distribute paper reports that the doctors used to dictate. And that was my job, is to go up on the floor of a hospital and tuck it into the patient's paper chart. That was back in the day when we actually had those.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, these women are, and they mostly were women back then. It's different today. I thought, wow, they're so smart. I don't think I could ever do that. And I found out that I actually could. And once I realized that my hesitance is multiplied by many young women that are out there, and young men that are out there thinking, I could never. Yes, you can. You absolutely can. And it's because of my initial fear of getting into the profession that I decided I was going to change that. I was going to teach young men and young women that you can, in fact, become a nurse. You are, in fact, smart enough, but you have to take the first step.
Now, would you have to decide that in high school to get the sciences that you need? Or is this something that can come later in life? I mean, it was a different era probably when you did it.
Totally.
So what would your advice be today for people who wanted to go into nursing?
My advice today really would be, go find a nurse and follow him or her. I'm going to refer to nurses as women, rather than go back and forth between genders the entire cast.
Yeah.
So I'm going to refer to women as, and find a nurse and follow her around if you can. I'm a great mentor, and I have mentored many young women who were on the precipice of making the decision and were afraid. And I said, come with me, spend the day with me. Come follow me into the ICU. Come follow me into the emergency room. and watch what I do as a nurse. And many of them made their life decisions based on that.
Yeah, that's
Um,
exciting.
it's the fear of taking the first step, I think. But absolutely, oftentimes I'll have women in their 30s say, well, I'm 35. I don't think I could be a nurse. And I'll say, well, it'll take you maybe 4 years or so, depending on how quickly you can take your coursework. And if you're 35, you'll be 39. How old will you be if you don't do it?
That's right. That's right. And that applies to anything. And I teach that one myself. There's good nurses and there's not so good nurses. And I was fortunate. I mean, I've experienced both. I was in the hospital for 6 months. So
Oh,
I got a little bit of, I was a bad motorcycle accident. So I got a little bit of both. And, there are jaded nurses and nurses who are just so happy to come to and be with you and help you throughout the day. And like, do you think that when you get those nurses that really like they just don't care anymore, like should they go or can you re-enthuse them or what would you say?
you know, um, what you're really describing is burnout.
Yeah.
And nurses are no different than pharmacists, than people who sell hosiery at Macy's, and they need to be renewed. And or maybe it's time to choose something else.
Yeah.
But for a nurse, there are so many settings where you can work. And what I did through the years to keep myself fresh was about every 5 to 7 years, I would leave the setting where I was and go into a different setting.
Right.
So as a result, I've taught, I've been at the bedside. I have a master's degree, so I've been a teacher, I've been a guide. I work in the community with people who have had strokes and are trying to recover oftentimes with their spouses. So I've tried to introduce myself to as much as I could to keep me fresh through the years. And and if that's not in the nature of a nurse, then maybe it is time to think about something else. Because what you bring to that patient who's suffering is immeasurable.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you probably have a nurse that you thought, please don't assign her to me today again. And you've also probably had a nurse that you've thought, gosh, I hope she's my nurse
Yes.
today.
Yes, absolutely.
Attitude is huge. And
Yeah.
when you're not happy within yourself, unfortunately, it shows no matter
Yeah,
who you are.
that's true. It's true. um Great advice. And hopefully, you know nurses will be listening, and people who want to go into nursing will be listening, and anybody who ever thought, geez, I can't do something, listen to this great advice, no matter what field you're in. Um, so you ended up really getting a specialty, honing a specialty in brain injury, and so what turned you to that?
Well, like many people, there was a pivotal moment in my life. And it happened when I had just become a nurse. I was maybe a year out of school and just getting my feet wet by nursing in a hospital. And it happened to be a hospital in a resort area where people came to ride their motorboats and ride horses and just have fun.
Hmm.
This young man that I was taking care of this particular morning was about a 25-year-old motorcycle accident victim. So I think you'll
I appreciate that.
relate to this. Yes, unfortunately. And, like the military, nursing is very military in its sort of formatting.
Hmm.
The night nurse was reporting off to me and she said, well, there's not a lot we can do for him. It's a very sad case. He probably will survive. I doubt that he will ever be functional. I doubt that he will recognize his family.
Oh, wow.
He probably will not speak, and he will probably live out a very short life in a nursing home somewhere. So keep him clean, support the family, do the best you can for them. And I was crushed. I thought, here I am, a young nurse, just shiny brand new, thinking, oh my God, I have to save this kid.
Hmm.
Well, I can't save them all, as you can well imagine.
Sure.
But I And back in the day, and I'm old enough to remember the day when, we had paper charts and whatnot. I sat down on the edge of his bed. We were never allowed to do that. It just wasn't done. I mean, it was just improper. And I sat on the edge of his bed and I wrapped my blood pressure cuff around his arm so that I could take his blood pressure and see how he was. And I sort of, and this kid was absolutely comatose. There was nothing going on in his brain at all. And I wrapped my cuff around his arm and I pumped up and I sort of looked at him and I said, "Good morning." And this kid with his eyes closed said, "Good morning." Oh my God, I thought I had awakened the dead.
Yeah.
I was so blown away, and I knew then and there, this was my passion. This is what I needed to do. I couldn't save everybody, but if I could save one, and maybe another one the next day, and another one the next day, I could make a difference in the lives of people that had brain injuries or illnesses, multiple sclerosis, stroke. There are any number of conditions that change who you are.
Hmm.
Your brain really makes you who you are. And when that brain has been damaged, you're different.
Yeah.
And families who are living with brain injury, God bless them, there's a special place in heaven for them because it's going to be a long, hard haul. But
Yeah.
there is hope at the end.
And that's a
And
whole other show.
it is a whole other
A
show.
whole other show.
But but
Absolutely.
to finish this story,
Yes.
the next day when I came to work, I expected to take care of this kid again, and the nurses were all in a snit. And they said, "Yes, he's awake." He walked down the hall and called his mother on the payphone. This kid had, I witnessed the arousal from a coma, and it was a very abrupt one. And this is how it happens. And
Yeah.
it changed me. It really did.
I had a friend who had a brain injury like that. The Glascoma scale was like a piece of wood, and
Yes,
uh, like let's say 10 months later, he got his master's in English.
yes, it's possible.
It's possible, and I mean, he had post-it notes around the room to remember everything. But you work hard, you can do things. But I want to talk about the Thank a Nurse Challenge. What a year it's been for nursing and medicine, in particular, because holy crap, without nurses and doctors this past year, we would have been everywhere around the world. Would have been,
Yeah,
just
where would we have been
yeah, up
if
creek without a
nurses
paddle.
had not
For
been,
sure.
yeah, if
Yeah,
nurses had not been, doctors and nurses had not been willing to walk into the
the fire.
cesspool
Yep.
of the pandemic,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, not worrying about themselves, not worrying about their families and what they might be bringing home to them. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. The
They,
sacrifice.
but they went to work anyway.
Yeah.
And, we started this project in 2018 to honor nurses because we knew 2020 was the year of the nurse. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Nobody did. So you're not unusual. 2020 was the 200th birthday of Florence Nightingale,
Wow.
who is the iconic nurse.
Sure.
And she was called the Lady with the Lamp because she carried an oil lamp everywhere she went inside these tents that she was taking care of wounded soldiers in the Crimean War.
Right.
It was a very long time ago. But she set the standards for nursing. And many people don't know that she set the standards for sanitation. She was the first one that realized that when you attended to one soldier and got blood on your hands, and then went to another soldier without washing your hands, you transmitted bacteria to the soldier in the next bed, who might have been quite well, and then ended up dying from his infected wounds from the soldier in the other bed.
Right.
And so she saw that there was a causal relationship between working with one person and working with another person without somehow sanitizing your hands.
You are a good teacher.
Am I a good teacher?
Yep, you are. So, the year of the nurse, nobody knew about it. And whose fault is that? Is there a fault? I don't know, but somebody has to have said, Media relations, where were you? Like the world did not know about this. But you knew, and so you were making plans. Thank goodness. And now we have this team organizational challenge, and you want companies, individuals, families, neighborhoods to go out and create a team and get as many people as they can to come to your website and sign on the virtual wall a thank you to the 27 billion nurses around the world. That's the gist.
You've described it beautifully.
Okay.
And we're also inviting individuals. Of course, we want a team from the business world, and we're inviting and engaging the celebrities to come on board.
Oh, I did see that. Yes.
And we're inviting and engaging business people, people from sports, from a wide variety of industries to come on board. And all they have to do really is press a button and say thank you to a nurse.
And so many of them, I'm sure, were stars or not, were affected or afflicted by COVID this year. Some member
Absolutely.
of the family, themselves, somebody, they got through it, a nurse and got them through it. And what an easy thing to do is just say thank you.
Yes.
And leave a personal message, a story even, right? Of, I got a hair, sorry, I got a hair on my face. And just say thanks.
It takes so little time.
Yeah.
And it's so
Not
meaningful.
going home to your family, thanks for staying with me.
Over the years, I've noticed that people really, and when they're in the hospital, and you probably remember this from your own hospitalization, most people really want to say thank you. And so they send a bouquet of flowers or they send a box of candy.
That's
and
right.
There's not a nurse alive that would turn that down. But my feeling is, and this is the basis for my scholarship program, is if I can help a nurse get an advanced degree, I'll change that nurse's life
Absolutely.
forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Opportunities open for them. But for the average citizen, when you were in the hospital, I'm sure you wanted to say thank you, and you probably thanked every nurse that came in your room. But now there's a way for a collective thank you, a way for your mother, your cousin, your next door neighbor to log on May 6th. That's when the virtual wall will open up.
Yep.
And it will be open from May 6th to May 12th and beyond. On May 12th, we will have an event that will be local. At least, fingers crossed. I hope it's going to be local because of the pandemic and whatnot. Yes. It will be virtual, if not live. And we're going to honor the work of nurses. The invitations to our local people are going out right now. We have sent invitations to individual nurses. We've sent them to doctors. I'm holding 2 tables aboard a 3-tier mega yacht.
Nice.
And if this isn't the way to treat nurses like the celebs they are, I don't know how else to do it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, we're inviting business people. Believe it or not, we're even sending an invitation to Prince Harry and Meghan, to Michelle and Barack Obama.
Nice. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
If they don't get an invitation, they don't know.
They got a shot, right?
That's right.
So, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I actually, because I was there for so long and I went from a trauma to rehab, and the difference between the nursing staff from trauma to rehab was incredible. And I went from a can't do to whatever it's going to take to do it for you and help you do it. The attitude was just something else. And I realized, staff do burn out. Of course they burn out. So I asked the CEO if I could speak to the staff, at a formal speak, and invite everybody came. And he said, sure. And I did that. I gave a little speech. And, they came up after and they thanked me because I reinvigorated and reinforced and informed, I guess, or whatever the word is, why they come to work every day. They go, I hadn't thought about that for a really long time. Thank you for letting us know that you felt that way, that we did that for you. Because it was, I needed to go to the bathroom, and 10 nurses came in and said, okay, we're going to get you up. Whatever it's going to take, you're going to go. And I'm like, really? I haven't sat up in, months, right? And it was such a different attitude. And it was so, oh God, it was amazing. I still remember, it wasn't that long ago, it was 18 years, really, but meant such a big, difference to my life and to me, that I was glad that I was able to do that for them. And so I would encourage people to do that too. You know, if you want to say something, speak to them, because I think sometimes they need to hear it, that they made a difference.
And you know what? Like I said, we love a box of candy and a bouquet of
I
flowers,
love that too. But
but
yeah,
nothing means more to a nurse than to know that they have made a difference in your life.
right, right. Yeah,
And when there probably isn't a person alive that from the time they get a slap on the butt in the delivery room to the time when they are taking their last breath in life that hasn't been in the presence of a nurse.
right.
And and this is not to denigrate doctors, because they have their place and they do amazing work,
Sure.
amazing. But who do you think spends the bulk of
Yeah,
their day with the patient?
yeah,
The doctor's there for 15 minutes in the morning to round, and maybe 15 minutes at the end of the day to see how the day
exactly.
went. But the nurse is the one that's with you there. And you know what? A story I have given several times over, when people have asked about the value of a nurse. Early in my life, I had a man who had broken both of his arms, and he was in extension casts, so he couldn't bend his elbows. He could not even scratch his nose.
Yeah,
Think about the disability of having both of your arms stretched out straight. Well, not only could he not uh, scratch his nose, but he couldn't provide him his own intimate details. Think about it, the things
that's
that we
right.
do for ourselves every day that we would rather no one knew, the
Yep,
nurse had to do for him.
yep.
And that's what a nurse is. The nurse will, as you said, gather 10 of us together, suck it up, and march you to the bathroom.
Yep, yep. Well, I had two broken femurs, hip and pelvis, so I couldn't
Oh,
move very good either. So yeah, but yeah, that's exactly what they did, and it was amazing, and I'm so grateful. And I think, embarrassment, whatever, goes out the window when you get like that.
yeah,
It has to, and if the nurse is good and she doesn't show it, then you don't feel it, and that's how it
absolutely.
should be, and that's how it should be. So
Well,
I'm very excited. I hope that people who are listening will gather a team. Now the virtual billboard, it opens on the 6th.
it opens on the 6th. It will be displayed during our May 12th event on the yacht, and then it will be open forevermore.
Okay.
At least
So if we cannot type on it or leave a message beforehand to go on it, you have to come on May 6th or during that week to leave the
That's a
message.
very good question. Actually, you can visit it now. You can
Yeah.
visit it today. And I believe one of the most recent changes was you can click on the tab that says contact us,
Okay.
and if you click and leave your name or your email or whatever, it will send a message to you on May 6th saying the virtual wall is open. Please
Nice.
leave the message.
Yeah. Good. I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh, we're
Pamela,
not.
I'm excited. I really hope that you make your billion. Do you think you'll make it that week, or does it matter to you as long in the year, or what do you expect?
I would love for it to happen in a week. But short of that, I hope it happens in a year. I
Yeah.
hope it happens by the end of the year 2021. Excuse me. Pardon me.
And are you in contact with nurses from every country in the world?
We
Yeah.
are.
Nice.
And not only nurses, but just people in
Yeah.
general.
People. Yeah.
Nurses are used to telling each other, hey, good job. But it's when we hear it from someone that isn't involved in with nurses, that it means the most to us. Like it did when you gave the heads up and the thumbs
Sure.
up to the hospital staff on the rehab unit.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
probably meant more to them, and they carry that around for a very long time. I
Hmm.
mean, it doesn't just come out of your mouth into their ears and go away.
No, I
They
know.
It ruminates. They hear that replayed in their minds all the time, and it's very meaningful.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. Thank you. Again, guys, go to www.thankanurseteamchallenge.org. Get yourself a team. If you don't have a team, do it yourself. But tell everybody you know. Everybody. Let's get that 1 billion. Let's help you get that 1 billion. I hope so.
Oh, I hope so too. And thank you to everyone. And thank you for having me here today to spread
Oh,
the
it's
word.
my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much for coming. I have another guest coming on in a minute, but Pamela, thanks a lot and best of luck to you. You're
Thank you
an
so much.
amazing woman. Really, truly, you are.
Thank you. I'm
God bless
humbled.
you. Take care.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye bye now.